Welcome back to where we uncover the truths that are often hidden beneath the surface. Today we're going to talk about something that affects many people, but isn't often discussed openly: toxic relationships. Why do so many people stay in relationships that are harmful, even when they know they should leave? It's not as simple as just walking away. Let's dive into the real reasons behind why people stay in toxic relationships. The first reason has to do with something called trauma bonding. In abusive relationships, there's often a cycle. One minute there's abuse or emotional neglect, and the next, there's affection or tenderness. This push and pull creates a deep emotional attachment to the abuser, which can make it very difficult for the person being abused to leave. The brain starts to associate pain and pleasure with the same person, leading to a bond that feels almost impossible to break, despite how damaging it is. Next, let's talk about low self-esteem. When someone has low self-worth, they may feel like they don't deserve better treatment. The toxic partner may also reinforce these negative beliefs, making the person feel as though they cannot do better or that they're lucky to have any love at all. Unfortunately, this can trap someone in a cycle of mistreatment because they believe they're not worthy of a healthier relationship. One of the most powerful emotions that can keep someone in a toxic relationship is the fear of loneliness. The thought of being alone can be terrifying for many people. They may convince themselves that staying in a bad relationship is better than facing the unknown of being single. This fear makes them tolerate dysfunction because the idea of solitude feels even more unbearable than staying with someone who treats them poorly. In many toxic relationships, financial dependence is a huge factor. Sometimes one partner is financially dependent on the other, making it incredibly difficult to leave. They fear that if they do, they won't be able to support themselves or their children. This dependency can be emotional as well as financial, creating an unhealthy attachment that feels like there's no way out. Another reason people stay in toxic relationships is the hope for change. Often individuals hold on to the belief that their partner will improve, that they'll stop being abusive, start caring, or finally fulfill the promises they've made. Unfortunately, this hope can be a trap. It blinds people to the ongoing harm and makes them wait for a change that may never come. Sometimes societal and cultural pressures play a huge role. Many cultures or communities place a heavy emphasis on keeping relationships intact, especially marriages. This pressure can lead individuals to feel that leaving a toxic relationship would be a sign of failure. The fear of judgment from family, friends, or society at large can prevent someone from taking the steps they need to protect themselves. Psychologically, attachment styles developed in childhood play a big role in how we relate to others. Those with an anxious attachment style may be drawn to avoidant partners, creating a dynamic where they feel overly dependent or anxious, while their partner remains distant or emotionally unavailable. This creates a toxic loop where the person's emotional needs are never fully met, but they can't seem to break free from the pattern. For others, the decision to stay in a toxic relationship may be influenced by the desire to keep the family unit intact for the sake of children. Many parents worry about the impact of separation on their kids, and while this is an understandable concern, it can sometimes result in staying in an unhealthy environment. However, children often pick up on the tension and dysfunction, which can harm their emotional well-being in the long run. In some cases, individuals stay in toxic relationships because they are in a state of denial. They convince themselves that the issues are not as bad as they seem, or that things will get better if they just try harder. This minimization of the severity of the situation allows them to remain in the relationship, despite the constant harm they experience. In extreme cases, there's something called Stockholm Syndrome, a psychological phenomenon where a victim develops feelings of loyalty or affection toward their abuser. This can make it even harder to leave, as the person starts to empathize with their abuser's struggles and sees them as a victim too. So, why do people stay in toxic relationships? The reasons are complex and the decision to leave is never easy. Whether it's because of fear, financial dependence, or emotional attachment, breaking free from a toxic relationship requires strength, support, and understanding. If you or someone you know is in a toxic relationship, remember, you don't have to stay, and you don't have to go through it alone. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful videos about the hidden truths of life. Leave a comment below with your thoughts or experiences, and let's start a conversation about breaking free from toxic cycles. Until next time, take care of yourself and always seek out the truth.